Hey YouTube, Eugene here. Hope you guys are all well. I know it's been a while, but I'm still around, still doing my thing. Although I don't have a fragrance review for you today, it's more of a meetup I had with another YouTuber, and I just really want to tell you guys how our day went. We went out sniffing, and I'll have an unboxing for you at the end of this video. Anyway, the guy I'm talking about goes by the name Kristo. He's got his own channel here, Batawi Blood. I'm sure you've all heard of him and seen his videos. He's been around forever. Does some really neat videos. He reviews some obscure fragrances. Doesn't really review the hyped up stuff. He's got a great segment going on, or at least he used to, and he doesn't really do it anymore, called Sacco Shit, where he'd reach into a pillowcase full of fragrances and he'd randomly pick one out and tell us why it was a piece of shit. I've been nagging him lately to bring it back, and his response really was that he's cut down on his blind buying and he doesn't really have any more shitty fragrances to review. Anyway, I did have the privilege of meeting up with him in Crackers, come on, and we went downtown. I reached out to him and I said, hey, listen, if you ever feel like going to Toronto, I'd love to meet with you and sniff a bunch of stuff. So he accepted, and we went out that way, and I'm telling you, I've never smelled more fragrances in my life like I did last weekend, and I'm still kind of just now coming down from my high from that last Saturday. If I said I had about 100 fragrances on my skin, I don't think I'd be lying, but it's not really the proper way to test stuff. It's just sort of everything felt like, I don't know, explosive on me. I could barely smell anything after an hour or two. But yeah, we just went out and we had a good time. Sniffed probably every single fragrance in the Hermes boutique, in the Chanel boutique, in Sephora. We hit Holt Renfrew's. You know, he got to test a lot of things out from Frederick Mull for the first time, some of the Armani Privees. He revisited some of the Tom Fords. We hit up a place where they were carrying Comme des Garçons. I smelt a bunch of those for the first time ever. You know, we just really traded a bunch of samples, and I honestly had a blast, and just picking his brain and talking to the guy. You know, I came to pick him up really early in the morning. The sun just rose, and it was awkward for about a total of 3 seconds before we just started getting into it. We had a lot of personal things in common, which was great. The thing that really stood out to me, though, was as soon as he got in my car, it was the most weirdest fragrance he was wearing. I couldn't believe what I was smelling, but I didn't want to ask him, what are you wearing? I wanted to just try and figure out, what could this possibly be? I couldn't even pick out any notes. I got accords like sweet, citrusy, fresh, and then all of a sudden, some dark nuances would have come in and disappear. So it was a little bit freaky. And after half an hour, I just said, "Hey, man, what are you wearing? What is that? It's so weird and bizarre, and never really experienced anything like that." And not to my surprise, he told me it was Check and Speak 88, a very dark, gothic-y style fragrance that's either loved or hated in the community. So it was the first time I've ever smelt that. He did end up giving me a sample. I've thought about that fragrance every day since, because it was just it was too much for me. Not that it smelled bad, it was just he wore it with such confidence, and it was something that I don't think I'd be able to pull off, as much as I love those weird smelling things. Anyway, so yeah, we met and we had a great time, and we traded a bunch of samples. 2 days later, I got a package at my door, and he sent me I'd say a good 2 dozen more samples. Very rare, hard to find here in Canada. Some discontinued fragrances, one being Tom Ford's Amber Absolute, and the other from the Kristo and Dior Privee House, Mitzah. So he asked me, how do you like Mitzah? If that's how you say it, I'm not even sure. And you know what, I really enjoyed it. I had about a 1 ml sample. I wore half of it one evening, and I wore the rest to work. the next day, and I said, it's fantastic. I really like this. It's nothing cutting edge, but it's really the style of fragrance that I do enjoy. He said, that's really good because there's a bottle on sale on Base Notes. A guy in Canada is selling it for a really good price. So I looked it up, and the price was fantastic. If I were to buy it in the boutique, it would have cost me almost $100 more than this guy was selling it. So I messaged the guy, and I purchased it right away. And this just came in right now. So yeah, that was Wednesday. Today is Monday. It just came in. So Kristo, thanks to your sample, I got to try Mitzah out, and I pulled the trigger. Anyway, I'm going to open this up for you guys here. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Got the dog here bothering me. So Mitzah, it's opens up pretty dark, spicy, a little bit resinous. The one thing I didn't like about Mitzah was I found it too sweet, like toothache sweet. And it's probably that honey note that I didn't like, but it's also got notes of cinnamon, rose, incense, and I was picking up the incense, I was getting the honey, I was getting a little bit of rose, but it wasn't until late in the dry down. There we go. Mitzah discontinued. It's getting harder and harder to find. I'm really happy to have this, especially at the price that I was able to get this. I won't be able to smell anything as my nose is kind of shot today. I think I have a head cold. I couldn't even smell my scent of the day, and I went heavy with Chanel exclusive number 22. But I will give it one spray. Yeah, I can barely smell it, so I won't bother with that. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my little video, and Kristo, thanks so much for taking the chance and spending the day with me. Had a great time. I sincerely did, even though you smell really, really strange, and I don't mean that in a bad way whatsoever. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you again. Bye.